Well, hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and it's a cold and nasty rainy day outside, and you know what else? I couldn't wait. I watched episodes 45 and 46 like a couple days ago, and I was like, am I really gonna wait until episode 47 after that episode set with Tanama and Notori and Natsume? No, the answer is no. So I may have a lot of comments to talk about in future episodes. I have no doubt. But for now, we're going to have to dive into episode 47. And I feel like that's fine because the next 2 weeks after this, not this week, we're just looking at episode 47, which is the Rule of 8, episode 8 of season 4. How are we here already? But the Rule of 8 stands that every 12 to 14 episode season or series, the 8th episode's always a good one, either an important one or a good one. And so far, I don't think Natsume has let us down yet. So I'm really excited about this episode, but also I wanted to go ahead and record this episode because I know I'm going to have to map out time because we have 2 next week and the week after that are back-to-back double episodes. Like right after this one that just happened. What? So that is mind-blowing to me. I'm going to have to I'm having to carve out time on my weekends to watch Natsume because there's so much to talk about. I'm like, what is happening? So I'm super excited about that. I can't wait for the next 2 weeks. They're going to be so much fun doing 2 back-to-backs and then the season finale after that. What? But in the meantime, we're going to check out episode 47, aka episode 8, and I'm super excited about that. I don't know what we're gonna do now. We had Notori working with Natsume and Tanama last week. I feel like we might take a break from that because we just came off of them all working together, and Natsume is like, last week was so sad because Natsume, I just wanted him and Tanama to talk it out more, and I know that they're okay. I know they're still friends. I know everything's fine, but the communications major in me was like, can't you guys just sit down and talk it out and have like a run with the wind circle, mediation circle? And no, the answer to that question is no. But I'm hopeful that in the future, maybe. So I definitely think last week gave us a lot of food for thought, and I'm really excited to see what y'all's comments are about that episode because it was so crazy. I'm sure by the time I end season 4, I'll have your comments for those episodes. But the good news is that we have so many seasons left that I will eventually get to talk about people's comments if anything stands out. So that's good to know. And we'll have the manga to talk about. The manga for season 4 I'm super excited for, but please no spoilers. I will get to it. Don't you worry. So other than that, I'm really excited to see where this season takes us. And I hope you all are as well. Real quick, I want to give a shout out over to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon. First of all, thank you all so much. Those of you that support me on Patreon, you keep this channel going. Thank you so much. Those of you on YouTube that support me, thank you so much. You can like, you can subscribe, you can do whatever you do to support, comment, whatever needs to happen. I appreciate all of it for you showing your support. But the philanthropy tier go above and beyond and donate a little extra each month that they don't have to, but they do because they're amazing. So I want to give them a shout out each week. And that goes to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Be Happy, to Bryant Reed, to Dana, to Damage3245, to Danger Zone, to Danny Donmai, Devorin, Destiny Marie, Eric Ichu, Ghostly Turnip, Fisho, El Freya, Linden, Liam Poles, Matthew Palfinier, Murphew, Nago, Nicholas, as well as Sunspots, Shimoyama, Translucent Min, Trails, Starman AA, and Moroni W. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. Anyway, that's what I got. I'm super excited. I'm going to get this episode all raring to go and start out that country jamboree. I do like the season 4 OP. We'll talk about it here in just a hot second, but I hope you all are excited. Let's see what episode 47 gives to us. We're going to start this episode 8 of season 4, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do this. Look, y'all. I would say that visually, I would say that of all the OPs so far, that the third OP, season 3's OP, is probably my least favorite in terms of the imagery, just because it reused a lot of images from season 2, and I was like, but I do like the image of this one. This song is probably one of my favorites because it's just so nostalgic and whimsical. But honestly, of all the EDs, I don't know if I can pick a favorite. The one with the fireworks in season 3 is probably my favorite. It's funny. The ED for season 3 is probably my favorite ED, but the OP for season 3 is my least favorite OP. So, give and take. Yeah, there's a little yokai there with the hat with the flames coming out of it. I don't recall them from any other season. So maybe they're going to be mentioned in this one. The heart of a child. Natsume with the heart of a child. Stop. Just stop. Shigure got a sweet BMW RV there. All right, what we gonna get? What you gonna give us, show? Come on now. Oh! Wait! Is that the lady from The Exorcist as a kid? Oh. Oh, it is. It is her. Wow. Wow. Getting to see her life as an exorcist. Oh my God. Oh my God, no. Oh shit. Oh my God, it didn't work. Oh my God. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh my God. And she can't fight back like Natsume. Is Reiko gonna save her? Oh, wow. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, so it wasn't them. We're going to talk about this. Also, what are you guys doing employing a little girl as an exorcist? When I was deceived. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Uh. Was it now? Oh. Isn't that their calling card? Oh, wait. Oh. Hey, wait a second. Is it working for her now? Oh, wow. Oh, no. In the short time since we last met. Little one. He's like, thanks. Oh! Oh, no! Oh, my God. Oh, Madara! Wait, you can turn into a bigger yokai. Grandson, may I make a request? Oh. Ah! Yada, yada. Just turn into a bigger version. Oh. Why are we releasing him? And then you got distracted for multiple decades? Oh, shit! Oh, no! Oh. Oh, my God. Or was that the trap? Don't do it! Madara, what are you doing? Oh, my God! Son of a bitch. That gurgling! Well, damn it. Oh. Nanase. Oh, shit. That was her rope to get out. Oh. I don't have to answer that. I'm not a pet. Oh. Oh. Oh, interesting. So is this the friend? Oh, wow. Oh, it's somebody she knew. Was it her teacher? What about her? Oh. Oh. Ah! Well. Right. Uh-oh. Interesting. I'm all in for this. What a convenient exposition for you. Oh, a family of exorcists. Oh, poor Nanase. Hers look. Well, that really wasn't what happened. And the rest we ignore. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, with the string! Oh, I wonder how old she'll be in this. I wonder how old she'll be compared to her. Oh. Interesting. Oh. Interesting. Oh my God. Man, the animation quality jumped up this season, did it not? The animation's been really good this season. This episode, it's great. Of all episodes, a Nanase centered one. It's interesting they're calling Reiko an exorcist. I'm so curious why they're calling her an exorcist. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, crap! It's that one again! Oh, crap! Well, damn it! It almost sounds like Madara's voice actor. Uh-huh. Oh. That's not Reiko, though. Oh. Who be this? Is that her dad? No. Oh. But it is not. What? Oh. Oh, hi, Mikage. Oh. Huh. Yeah, okay, so we don't know. Interesting. Oh. Hi, Mikage. Yeah. Hmm. Oh. Hmm. A three-tiered system. Oh, shit. Girl's like, I'm here for mass genocide. He's like, I'm right here. Hmm. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh. He's like, I'm right here, girl. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. And the flying fish. Oh. I want this guy to be Natsume's grandfather. Is that weird to ask? But shit. Oh my god. That's not good. I want to protect this guy, Mikage. Oh my god. I want to support. Like, I don't know how old Reiko is at this point, though. Oh. 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 Was he an... Was he an exorcist or was he a yokai? Oh, interesting. Oh. What is this? Oh, this is where they were. This is where they are now. Oh, shit. Oh! Because he was a yokai? Oh my god! Oh! Oh my God! Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh, shit. Yeah, he's a yokai. Oh, damn it. Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh. 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 Oh, wow. Because they're all just parts of him. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh. Oh. Like, seal him and purify him. Man, I've never had a ship form and sink so fast. Oh. 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 Oh, the anger and sadness of being an exorcist. Oh. Wow. That's your karma. But he just asked her to do it. Oh. 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 But they're all down there. Hmm. Huh. Yeah, he could have. Okay. Ooh. Huh. Right. Uh. And he let her out. Okay. Ha! Oh. Interesting. It's not something evil is it, Natsume? Why would you ask that now? Yeah, okay. Oh, wow. And she took his name when she fought him. Of course. It's Mikage, isn't it? Oh. 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 Huh. Well, you know them. Uh-huh. I wonder if Natsume will see Nanase with the Jade Stone in the future. Yeah. Huh. Oh, nothing! Nothing special! Yeah, just stuck in a well with an exorcist. Oh my god. Manchu, Manchu! Oh, I want to see Nanase get the Jade Stone! Show us that! Ah! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh. We're going to have to get Whiteboard Kun out again? Are we? I did not anticipate this. Damn. Show. Oh my gosh. Was not anticipating a Nanase-centered episode or for it to tug at my heartstrings like it did. Ah. You just stop right there and then. I am floored. Y'all. Wow. Okay, fine. Be that way. Damn. Uh-huh. Sure, Jan. I'm so curious about the manga at this point, and I have no clue how it's going to be laid out, but I don't want any spoilers. We'll find that out as we go, but man. Huh. Should I just leave Whiteboard Kun out for the rest of the season? Should I just leave him out? Just be like, hey, just hang out. It's Natsume, it's fine. I did not anticipate this. I did not anticipate a Nanase-centered episode, although that does have me thinking that, remember that one sleazy guy, Matoba, that we saw at the beginning of this season that started us out? Yeah, I can't imagine if any of the 3 double-parters that we have left to go could possibly involve him, or this is season finale since we've had Nanase mentioned. I can't imagine. I feel like they're buttering us up, giving us a little bit of Nanase backstory to try to justify why she is possibly going to do the things that she does, but also to kind of establish her character, because it's going to be relevant later on when Matoba shows back up, which I'm sure he will. Even if it's not this season, we know it's going to happen in 5, 6, or 7, so there's that. But yeah, I did not anticipate a Nanase centered episode. It's hard for me to call her Nanase and not Nanami, so we'll go with that. But I want to establish a couple things with her character. One, I instantly like Nanase more in this episode than I have the entirety of her run in this series so far, because this episode breaks down her character and gives her more humanity and explains why she is the way that she is. So we need to talk about Nanase. Nanase is from a family of exorcists. Now, what's interesting to note is that she now works with Matoba. So there could be a lot that goes on with that, with why she's with Matoba now, because you would be thinking to yourself, why is Nanase, my dogs, why is Nanase not like the head of her own clan? And why is she not running her own family of exorcists? Well, if she didn't have any kids, then that could be one suggestion. She didn't have any kids, which could be for a number of reasons, which we'll talk about. But also, she could have kids and they just ended up working for the Matoba clan. Or, as we've established, exorcists, as they talk about, are not really high-paying jobs. And as Notori kind of points out, or I don't know if it was Notori or who exactly pointed it out, but someone noted in this world that being an exorcist is not really a common practice anymore. And I remember talking about in a previous episode, it was kind of, maybe it was Matoba, reminded me a little bit of Demon Slayer and that series, and the idea of as society gets modernized, there's less connections with spirituality and less connections with the yokai. It's kind of like in this culture where there's so much spiritual reverence, people know and believe in the yokai, and so they can either see them or know their presence, and so them hiring an exorcist seems to be like a legit way of doing things. But as things have gotten more modernized, and as less and less people believe in the yokai and believe in those spirits, they have less power. Perhaps some of them don't. Some of them are still going strong, but some of them lose some of that power. And so the need for an exorcist is not as present. So unless, and my dog's just going to have to get over it. Go lay down. Unless you are Notori, who is an actor and getting some SAG money, some Screen Actors Guild money in Japan for his acting roles, unless you have a side hustle that gets you paid, then being an exorcist is not a lucrative system anymore. So it would be very easy to understand if Nanase's family kind of ran out of business. And so she had to it would not surprise me at all if lots of these exorcist clans, if they all had to start, combining, or, sort of, I'm not saying it's a monopoly, but if they had to start kind of downsizing and collaborating because there wasn't enough for them to stand on their own. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they all had to collaborate with one another and all of the exorcist families started to combine because there just wasn't enough business for them to kind of run on their own. That wouldn't surprise me. At first, until we found out it was a family practice, I was kind of looking at Nanase and being like, who is letting you just run out here as a middle schooler or as a high schooler and just do these exorcisms? But the fact that she's in a family business, even though it's like, I get that they're training her, but I'm like, this is pretty dangerous work. And the more we get into this series with the yokai, and we get into some yokai that are kind of dangerous and show that they're violent and are not, willing to negotiate, kind of like the one in the last episode set and then this one, the more I'm kind of like, yeah, unless you're Natsume or Reiko, who are able to actually fight these spirits head on, this is really dangerous stuff. And I don't know if I'd be subjecting my kids to it, but it happens in Hanako-kun, it happens in this one, that's just part of their life. It's part of their family, part of their culture. I did like this little bird, this bird yokai that had the fish and gets drug into all of this. He's so kooky. I really liked his design, and he was kind of adorable. I'm not gonna lie. Also, I've noticed with Nanase, there's kind of a theme of birds being attached to her clan and to her, so that's interesting. But I instantly liked her character so much more in this episode because she was instantly more relatable. Like her fear, her not knowing what to do, and basically the thing is that she knows what her job is, but she's hesitant to tell the yokai apart. And we're going to talk about that here when she talks to Mikage. Which, man, never before has a ship been constructed, destroyed, and sunk into the depths of the sea faster than the Mikage and Reiko ship. I thought when we first met him, when we first met Mikage, that he was an exorcist. And I thought that maybe, one, I had a lot of theories instantly go through my head the moment we met Mikage. Theory one was that as soon as we saw him and they confused him for Reiko, I was like, oh, maybe Reiko's older and they're married and this is Natsume's grandfather. That was theory number one. Then two was, oh no, he's been confused for Reiko, but he's going to meet Reiko, and maybe if she's older, because here's the thing, we didn't see Reiko in this episode, so we don't know exactly the age difference between Nanase and Reiko at this point. I would assume they're about the same age, but it seems like maybe she's older. That would make sense too. So then I was like, oh, well, maybe she's older and she's going to meet Mikage and they're going to fall in love and then he's going to be Natsume's grandfather. I had a whole fanfic written. I had like whole fan art planned out. I had the whole 9 yards. And then the moment we found out he was yokai, I was like, well, never mind. I had constructed, set sail, crashed, and buried a ship within the span of 5 minutes. It's a new record on this channel. My brother would be so amused. I was so floored. I can't believe how quickly we went through all that. Anyway, so the yokai, she does not get sealed because the one yokai interfered. And whenever someone started calling out for her, the thing was, whenever she opened her eyes and saw all these yokai, some of which look a little bit familiar, they were like, oh, well, she's kind of weak. She's different from the exorcist in the town next door. I heard one of our friends got beat up by her, and it's Reiko. I saw her as she was beating up yokai. So Nanase instantly has an infatuation. She has an infatuation with Reiko because she kind of admires her. She admires her strength and her power, because she herself feels kind of powerless in this scenario. She's like, I wish I could be strong enough to fight the yokai and beat them up, and then that would make my job a lot easier. And so she kind of obviously wants to meet Reiko to ask her about, what do you do? What do you do different? What allows you to do this? It's interesting because they called Reiko an exorcist when that really wasn't the case, because Mikage is like, I don't know if she's an exorcist or not. She definitely does not seem one. She seems like Natsume she's just like riding the line of being spiritually aware of yokai and able to interact with them, but she's not an exorcist herself. But it's so funny to me now, looking back at season 3, whenever Nanase was up next to Hinoue in like the second to last episode, and Hinoue was like talking up Reiko, being like, don't talk bad about Reiko, you don't even know her. And Nanase was like, it's so interesting because you have Hinoue who kind of like worships Reiko from the yokai perspective. And then you have Nanase who kind of idolizes Reiko from the human perspective. And just seeing them both in the same episode back in season 3 just instantly brings me back to that moment and adds another layer and context to it. It's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. I love it. But yeah, so then the guys come down there and they find her. And this episode called When I Was Deceived, which is so funny because Nanase's deception is actually like one of the biggest life lessons that she learns as an exorcist. So that's interesting. So yeah, so we have Natsume and Madara like walking around getting them some food. And then this one yokai comes and snatches Natsume up looking for the Book of Friends so that they can release Mikage. And that's what we end up finding out. I'm glad this one little bird yokai that's kind of cute ended up being completely harmless. And so like he was sealed in a stone and I was going to take him to Reiko, but I dropped him in the forest. So then, okay, clearly a lot of time has passed since she first came to that shrine, because like the house is dilapidated, everything, the brush has grown up around it, the shrine's been completely destroyed, the well's still there, but everything else is ruined. So, I mean, it's been probably a solid 30 or 40 years, I would guess, since she's been there. And it makes more sense now. I like that Madara said that the rope was to prevent people. He didn't want anybody else to be tricked by the trap, but then he ends up falling into the well and ends up with Nanase. You stupid cat. Nanase instantly has grown on me in this episode because she's not She definitely falls in line with Matoba, but obviously there are reasons why she does that, but she's not a bad character. Again, Natsume's Book of Friends, taking these characters that we think are bad and then being like, well, actually they're just very, very increasingly layered with gray. But she's like, I can't leave thanks to you. And then she's like, while we're here, let's just tell a story. Let me tell a story. Let me give you an exposition dump while we're here. And all these stones that are sealed. I love that she's like, most of them have lost their power and are disappearing. And it's crazy. These are all the yokai that he dispersed. And then she said, most of them have lost their power and are disappearing. But this number, I don't know what exorcist did this, but since there's so many, they must have been the kind of tricky jerk who only went after the weak. And then, well, Madara says that, and then she says, you don't know anything. She's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I like that she gets offended that Madara is talking smack about Mikage. She's like, you don't even know. I was like, ooh. And then she sits down to tell the story. And she's like, Reiko's involved in this, but just one of these is the one that I sealed. But since we can't go out for a while, let me tell you this story, since fate has brought us together. I think it's interesting that we get to see her as a kid, and we see her in her like little school uniform, and then her family says, we exorcise the evil yokai, we make the powerful ones our servants, and we ignore the rest. And that is the way of all exorcists. So we exorcise evil. We enslave the powerful, if we can, and they're not evil. And we ignore the other yokai. Interestingly enough, Matoba, that whole ignore the other yokai business, Matoba seems to not be very good at that, because he ends up using a lot of other yokai for his means, like to experiment on, to use as weapons, to use as bait. He kind of doesn't follow that model that seems a little bit more honorable like her dad followed. He seems to like do his own thing where he's like, yeah, we'll exercise the evil ones and we'll enslave the powerful ones, but then we'll also kind of use the other yokai that are innocent and just for our own means. And I'm like, ooh, that's a little different than what this guy was proposing, just a wee little bit. But she's like, that's the way of all exorcists. And so her thing is that she's like, I know that, but she's like, how does one tell apart an evil yokai from one to ignore? So that's when she gets the one guy and she wants to go find Reiko. She gets a little flying yokai and says, I want to go see where Reiko is. I love that she has like the string attached to the yokai, which is super cute. And she goes, who knows what'll happen if somebody weak like you comes to visit, so you should be scared of Reiko. The thing that stood out to me is when those girls like walk by her and see her and she's like, oh, that's that girl that talks to herself in the mountains and everything. And there's this idea that the exorcists by nature are weird outsiders, which is how Nanase has felt, right? Because her whole thing is that she wants to eliminate all yokai so that way she can be normal. Which is not unlike what Natsume kind of thought at the beginning of this series. Natsume was kind of like that too. He's like, I wish there weren't any yokai, and then I wouldn't have to worry about being different or being ostracized. And here, she kind of wants the same thing because she hates the fact that it's talking about, we've looked at how Notori and Matoba and her, all of these exorcists are kind of like in their own little cult because they're all like, it's like the Foot Clan from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's like the 1991 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie where it's like the outside world rejects you and you're part of the Foot Clan. Those are literally the exorcists. They don't fit into society. So their goal is to get rid of the yokai so that they can. And there we go. But I felt for Nanase because her struggle and strife seems to be very similar to Natsume's and how his was at the beginning, right? I feel like that they were very, very similar moments in their character development between the two of them. The difference, of course, is that for Natsume is I feel like Natsume kind of embodies Mikage's philosophy, which is why, as Mikage was being introduced, I was like, oh, could he be related to Natsume? But no. But it's the idea of there being this balance. Of there being this balance and this karma between the yokai and the humans. And Natsume is trying to ride that balance right now. Whereas Nanase, you know, she's older, she's working for Motoba. It's different. She's kind of, it almost feels like most of the exorcists have given up on the idea that you can be harmonious with the yokai unless they're serving you, right? You kind of have like Notori's situation with Hiragi and all of that, but Natsume doesn't believe that. Look, the shot of that one yokai looking out of the lush bushes there, I was like, oh damn, animation. You got cleaned up this episode. You have a really good animation. That's really cool. Also, the little yokai sitting on the bus with her, really super cute. She has to be like in grade school. Like this girl's in elementary school. This is an elementary school girl exercising yokai, which is wild to me. Also, it makes me wonder, like, what if there's like a big what if scenario of what if Natsume had been sent out to exercise yokai at a young age like this and had been trained by Motoba or another clan at a young age. Like, he would have been a completely different person than he would have been based on his experiences leading up to him meeting Madara. It's wild. So yeah, so that one yokai comes back. It is bound and determined to hurt her, which is so sad. And then Mikage uses his abilities to save her. I love Mikage and his little goatee triangle as he's sitting there. And then it's interesting that it seems like he took on the appearance of the exorcist that had employed him or enslaved him. He took on the appearance of him because his actual form seemed to have like the crazy eye and look a little bit different. And he says that person picks a fight with every yokai they see and defeats them. Reiko. And then Nanase asks if Reiko's an exorcist, and Mikage's like, I don't know about that. But what's interesting is that they're like, why do you want to meet Reiko? And she's like, I wanted to ask somebody how to tell the difference between the yokai you should exorcise and those you don't have to fight. What's interesting is that based on that, she's like, well, which ones do we exorcise and which ones do we fight? And which ones do we ignore? What's interesting is that Reiko, she kind of goes against the grain and does none of those things. I mean, she does ignore the yokai in general. She gets their names and then runs off. But she doesn't exorcise the evil ones. But she also doesn't enslave them either. She just challenges them to a fight, takes their name, and walks away. And she kind of is like an anti-exorcist in that route because she's nothing like what their MO is. And that's so interesting. And I kind of wanted Nanase to meet her in this episode, and that doesn't happen, and it's so frustrating. I wanted her to meet her. I wanted them to have an interaction. And we don't know if that ever ends up happening. And she's like, my family makes a distinction between those who you are hired to exercise and those you can turn into servants and those you can ignore. And she's like, but I think we should just exercise all of them. And I was like, well, we went straight to genocide of the yokai. And I get where she's coming from, but it was such a funny moment to me because there's the yokai standing right in front of her being like, oh okay. I'll blame you for wanting to kill all of us, but cool. What a scary girl. And she's like, we'd be better off if they were all gone. And that yokai's like, oh, what do you mean if we were all gone? She's like, then no one else could see them. But I can. And if you can see them, then you want... And she says, if you can see them, you want to talk to them. And if you start to talk, it's like if you give a mouse a cookie. If you give a yokai your time, then you start to pity them. And then if you start to pity them, she's like, then I can't show any pity or friendship to a yokai because that would put me in danger. So it's, in her mind, that friendship and pity is dangerous. And so it would make sense for Nanase and the other exorcists to kind of scoff at Natsume and be like, you be friends with a yokai? That's stupid. That's dangerous. Why would you do that? But we know from this series that Natsume is literally the only human that can fight the yokai head on. I mean, Reiko was the other one, but she's dead. So for all we know, Natsume is kind of like, he's the fish. I love that they had the fish jumping out of the water, like the fish over water, which from reading Berserk, I know is like the exception to the rules. And that's kind of what made me want to like have Mikage as Natsume's grandfather or whatever, because the fish jumping over the water, over the moon was the kind of symbolism. I was like, but Natsume is the exception to the rule. He gets to be the balance between humans and yokai because he can fight them. He doesn't have to worry about being in danger. And her just saying it, that one yokai looking back at her like, oh, dang, girl, I'm sad you feel this way. It was really sad. And then even Mikage had like the little gleam in his eyes. But she's like, what do you think, Mikage-san? I want to hear what a strong exorcist like you thinks, which is, and he looks back at her like, girl, I ain't even an exorcist. I'm just a yokai posing. And he says, I've been sealing them as I've been instructed. He doesn't lie to her. He doesn't lie. He says he's been sealing as he's been instructed. But what she thought was that he was being taught by another exorcist, but he was just living out the exorcist that died's orders. She's like, oh, so someone's teaching you. And she's like, what did they say? And then he says, they said that both humans and yokai are part of a great chain of nature. So it's this idea of balance. Those yokai that are harmful to humanity and those who make their living exercising them are both part of each other's karma. So yeah, that in that point here, he's kind of touching base on a fact that she hasn't really even considered because she's still a kid. And it's the idea of, oh, these exorcists have made a business on the exorcising of evil yokai. Well, after a while, if you don't have any evil yokai, where's your business? So he's kind of being like, you know, I'm just doing what I'm told. I find an evil yokai and I seal them up, and then that just keeps the business running, and it's karma. It's this circle of life that we've created amongst ourselves. We're both part of each other's karma. And there's the fish flying out of the water. Yep. Karma is the role that we are born with and the only way we can live. So we have this idea that karma, the way that he describes karma, is the role that we are born with and how we live. And so he establishes that her karma is that she has to be an exorcist that is strong and has to work towards understanding, just to work towards understanding that difference of what makes a yokai evil and what makes them worth sealing and worth ignoring, right? Because she talks about wanting to fight for a second Madara, and Madara's like, oh, you really want to go? And then she's like, well, you're not exactly evil, so no, you're not my end goal, so that's not going to work, right? Which is such a fascinating ideology, given that she works with Matoba. Now, granted, she's falling in line because that's her role, but I'm going to be interested knowing in how much she's invested in knowing more about Natsume and Reiko and what we've seen with her and Matoba. I'm going to be interested to see where her storyline goes. Is she going to, like, at one point defy Matoba? Because to me, Matoba seems like the anti-Mikage. Whereas Mikage had this belief about the symbiosis of yokai and humanity and how they benefit one another. You get rid of the evil. Because look, we've established, especially in the last episode set, some of these yokai are eating other yokai. They're not good for the other yokai. So the exorcists are kind of like, it's this food chain. It's this circle of life moment where the exorcists get rid of the evil yokai, and the evil yokai aren't eating the other good yokai. So it's kind of beneficial to everyone involved in the cycle. But Matoba kind of messes with that cycle and does whatever the hell he wants and doesn't seem to respect it, like what Mikage has taught Nanase. And for right now, Nanase just kind of goes along with whatever Matoba tells her because he's her boss. But I'm going to be curious in the future, now that we know this about her, if she's going to stand up at some point to Matoba or help Natsume get away from Matoba or something like that. I don't know. But we have this idea that the only way we can live, this is our karma. So that also bears the question of what is Natsume's karma? And I feel like Notori kind of touched base on it last episode, that he has to be strong and pursue this medium position of being between the yokai and the humans. That Natsume has to keep pursuing that. That's his lot in life. And Notori's like, it's going to be hard and you're going to be miserable, but this is your karma. This is your mission. This is what you've got to do because you need this in your life to keep you sane. And for Nanase, her being this strong exorcist that does what needs to be done is part of her karma as well. But damn. And even Mikage tries to like keep her safe and all that. Ugh. Even if I ever give into this yokai energy and become something twisted, will you seal me away? At that point, when he said that, I was like, oh, wait. If he gives into this yokai energy and becomes something twisted, I'm like, is he actually a yokai? And then down my ship went. Down the ship went and into... I really liked Mikage, though. I really liked him. It was really good. So then they're like, oh, here comes the bus to come get her. And she has to go and catch the bus to go home. And I love that she gives the yokai to him and then runs off. Like, that was so sweet. Yeah, I really loved Mikage. I wanted more of him. How dare this show give us a really great yokai and a really great character in one episode and then just take them away. Like, they were so good. They had such a great message to them. But yeah, so apparently Mikage fought with Reiko. So he says he won't last long. He was in bad shape when he dueled with Natsume Reiko. So the big question as well is, I wonder if Nanase is going to try to find Reiko to ask her why she battled Mikage. Like, why did he go battle her? Why did she take his name? Did she just stumble across him and fight him and that was it? Like, what was the reason behind the fight? And I want to know. But yeah. Anyway, so that damn yokai kept showing up with the Daruma doll face. And I kept thinking that Reiko or somebody was going to step in. And Mikage ends up sealing him away. Like with parts of his... Also the fact that he was a jade stone that took parts of his own being to seal away the other yokai and purify them. I mean, I kind of want a paperweight to be a jade stone and to use it now, like Mikage. I kind of want that. Is that bad? Is that bad to want that? And then, yeah, he starts to feel like because he's given so much of his goodness away, it's making his spirit turn evil, right? All of that energy expended is, driving him into a sense of despair, and it's making him into a bad yokai. When those two guys came to check out the house and then you couldn't see Mikage and the realization, it felt like it was akin to season 1, episode 3, when Natsume's sitting on the swing with the yokai and then suddenly you can't see her and you're like, oh my God, he's been a yokai the whole time. That was the same feeling I had in this moment, and oh, so well done. But yeah, they said that the master, what did they say there? An exorcist at this home died, and his servant yokai is still wandering around here. And she's like, oh my God. And she's like, his servant. And he says, it absorbed the energy of the exorcised yokai and is on the verge of turning into something evil. So that's it. It's not just that he's expended his own energy. It's the fact that because he's been exorcising evil yokai and turning them into stones, he's absorbing all their evil energy, and it's potentially going to corrupt him to the point where he can't turn back. And then she's like, you're a yokai, aren't you? And he's like, I was a piece of jade that fell into a riverbed. And my master found me when he was searching for stones to seal evil yokai. And that's how I got here. And it sucks because in that moment, I feel so much connection between her and Natsume, because Natsume felt the same thing when he realized that yokai were yokai and not humans. So I really want Nanase and Natsume to have a conversation now about it, and for Natsume to tell her his experience and why he is the way that he is. Because I think that now, with her growing up in a similar but different environment and way, she would understand. Like, she doesn't understand the family trauma aspect of it because her family seemed pretty intact and well off. So she doesn't understand where he's coming from that perspective. But she would understand what Natsume's felt like, and Natsume would understand what she has felt like growing up and feeling like an outsider and dealing with the fact that you get tricked by yokai thinking that they're humans. So that's just, speaking of yokai, my dog is an evil yokai today. But yeah, So I wish they would have a conversation. I think that would be really, really cool. But yeah, the evil is purified in the well and returns to nature. But if I do this anymore, I would turn into something evil myself. So, what does he say there about Reiko? He said, I was searching for someone to seal me before that happened. So, that's right. So he found Reiko thinking that she would seal him, but she said no. And instead, he probably got mad at her and was like, no, you need to seal me. And she's like, I'll fight you and take your name. And then that happened and he left. Which is interesting that she chose not to seal him, because I'm sure she felt sorry for him. But in the same vein, I feel like Reiko's kind of opposite of Natsume, in the sense, to me, that Natsume gets involved and he feels like he needs to be involved in all the yokai's business, and he forms these bonds with the yokai and they become his friends, part of the Book of Friends, and they kind of form this, little dog troop that follows him around doing his wishes. Whereas Reiko seemed like she pushed everyone away and she was like, nope, I don't want to deal with anyone. I don't want to mess with the exorcist. I don't want to deal with the yokai. I just want to go live my life. And she did the exact opposite of Natsume. But yeah. And then him telling Nanase that she's strong and that she's the one that can seal him. The anger and sadness of being an exorcist. I love that. He's like, how it feels to be angry at the yokai and to be sad because you have to determine between which ones you're going to exorcise and which ones you ignore. And he's like, that will make you stronger because you understand and you're aware. And he's like, and she's like, I can't seal you, Mikage. And he's like, sealing me is your karma before I become something evil. I love it. I love that he basically tells Nanase in that moment, he's like, your job as an exorcist is to seal away evil. Because you understand how dangerous it is, and you understand the sorrow and the fury of an exorcist, and how their job is such a quandary. Oh. And even the yokai is like, but he helped you. And she's like, this is what he wanted. And then she seals him away. She's like, a while ago I learned this house was going to be demolished, and I came here being afraid of the well. But it's possible that the power of the well has already made him disappear along with the stone. And so she's like, well, anyway, she's like, I've restored the faltering barrier. So if I'll undo it if you take the rope to the surface. And he's like, well, what if I just drop you back in here? And she's like, well, then that would be a problem for me. But she's like, you're not going to do that because Natsume would be mad at you if that happened. And I'm not going to bother you because I know Natsume would be mad about that as well. She's like, and I know you're not an evil yokai, so you'll do this, right? And he's like, I guess. So he does get her out of there. And then she's like, well, maybe I could fight you and seal you right now. And he's like, don't get cocky. He's like, we just mutually work together for this hot second, old lady. Don't you be getting cocky on me now. Mm-hmm. He's like, I know who you work for. Which also points to the fact that Nanase and Matoba and them are in Natsume's neck of the woods again. And then she's like, nope, that's fine. She's like, I won't try. I don't want the child to be hating me. She's like, this is my karma to be this type of exorcist now. So then they find and they release Mikage. And the Kage's like, now I'm free from my karma. He's like, don't worry. I really wanted to see Nanase get the stone back. I wanted to see him give the stone back to her and for her to have it. But I'm hoping that maybe in the future we'll see her holding the jade stone and we'll know that that's where it's from. And Natsume will put two and two together. Or it'll come out at some point that her and Madara had their adventure. I don't know. I just want Natsume and Nanase to have a conversation now, especially given all we've been told about them this episode. But this episode came out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere and was so freaking good. And the parallels between Nanase's upbringing and her fear of yokai and her despising them, and Natsume's and how their paths have kind of drifted in parallel but differing directions. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. And I can't wait to hear you all talk about it down below. I'm so excited. But yeah. This episode was great. Last week was great. And we have a two-parter next week with episodes 48 and 49, episodes 9 and 10. The rule of 8 has not let us down. Yes. I feel so excited. The rule of 8 did it again. Huzzah. But I'm super excited to hear your comments down below. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back real soon with more of Natsume's Book of Friends. Bye.